Hey everyone, welcome back to Mrs. Cooper's Cozy Corner. This is our Little Leaders series for Black History Month and influential and important people in African American history. And remember, these are some people that you might have never heard about. So it's a good way to learn about different people. So our first person today is Mary Eliza Mahoney. She was a nurse. Mary Eliza Mahoney. Yeah, Mary Eliza Mahoney. 1845 to 1926. Mary grew up before the American Civil War as a free woman in Massachusetts. Though, as a Black woman, her career options were limited. Mary knew that she wanted to be a nurse. When she was 18 years old, she started working at the New England Hospital for Women and Children. But she wasn't saving lives yet. She had to work as a cook and a scrubber. Although Massachusetts was a leading state in the anti-slavery movement, discrimination and segregation were still a way of life. The hospital, however, prided itself on the fact that it treated both Black and white patients. It also had a nursing program that admitted one Black student and one Jewish student per year. They considered this quite progressive. Mary worked on the hospital staff for 15 years before being admitted into the nursing program in 1878, at the age of 33. That year, 42 students were accepted, but only 4 graduated. Mary was one of them. As a private nurse, Mary had an incredible reputation as being patient and skillful. She traveled around the East Coast, and her work helped challenge racism in the South. She was soon inducted into the American Nurses Association. In 1908, she helped support the founding of the National Association of Colored Graduate Nurses, which later named a major award in her honor. Mary's nursing career lasted 43 years. She was recognized as a pioneer and in 1976 was inducted into the American Nurses Association Nurses Hall of Fame. Her old hospital, the New England Hospital for Women and Children, renamed the Dimmick Center in 2007, features a new healthcare facility named after her, the Mary Mahoney Center. So that is Mary Eliza Mahoney. Okay, our next person today is an exceptional man in African American history, and that is Garret Morgan. You might not have heard of some of these people. This is Garret Morgan. Garret Morgan was an inventor, 1877 to 1963. Garret was always interested in how things worked. He had no schooling past grade school, but he didn't let that hold him back. By the age of 14, he had worked as a handyman, and by 18, he had taught himself enough to get jobs at sewing machine companies around Cleveland. In 1901, Garret sold his first invention, a part for a sewing machine, and a few years later, he was able to open up his own shop. He soon became a successful businessman and inventor. In 1914, Garret filed a patent for his next invention. After witnessing a fire, he noticed that the firefighters combated the blazes with no protection over their eyes or face. He thought that a mask would shield the men and keep them from inhaling smoke. He devised a safety hood that covered the face, using a hose to access fresh air from below. Many people were reluctant to buy inventions made by a Black man, so he often hired white actors to conduct demonstrations so customers would give his creations a chance. Eventually, his business grew, and fire departments in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York were using his hood. Garret wasn't just an inventor and businessman, though, he was also a hero. After a tunnel explosion in 1916, Garret used his safety hood, rushed in, and pulled out workers. He saved 2 lives. In 1923, he filed a patent for his next invention. At the time, automobiles were on the rise and were sharing the road with horse-drawn carriages, bicycles, and pedestrians. Traffic signals went from stop to go with no notice, and it was dangerous. After Garret witnessed a terrible crash, he and I had an idea for a warning signal. This was a precursor to the red, yellow, and green signals used today. So Garret Morgan was one of the first people to think of having a warning signal, which is like the yellow signal on a stoplight. Bet you didn't know that. Garret paid attention to the world around him and looked for opportunities everywhere. He proved that inventing wasn't just about coming up with new ideas, but could also be about improving upon existing ideas, helping people, and making the world a safer place. And that is Garret Morgan. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.